The Galactic Council chamber stretched 3 miles in every direction, a monument to excess and alien vanity. Representatives from 400 worlds floated, hovered, or perched on gravity platforms calibrated to their home planets. The air itself was carefully partitioned into zones, each maintaining different atmospheric compositions, temperatures, and pressures. It was, as Ambassador Jade Reeves often thought, the universe's most expensive circus tent. And today, Earth was the clown. The humans wished to join the expeditionary force? High Chancellor Vexthor's voice dripped with amusement. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a Krillian gesture equivalent to rolling one's eyes. How absolutely precious! Laughter rippled through the chamber. Not polite chuckles, but full-throated, belly-shaking, table-slapping guffaws. The Zentarii delegation made a sound like glass breaking. The Morphids changed colors in rhythmic patterns that Jade's translator implant informed her meant comedic appreciation. Even the normally stoic Vaxans were rattling their chitinous plates together. Jade stood at the speaker's podium, her expression neutral, hands clasped behind her back. She wore her dress uniform, navy blue with gold trim, every crease perfect. Her dark hair was pulled back tight enough to give her a headache. She had prepared for dismissal. She had prepared for skepticism. She had not prepared for being treated like a stand-up comedian. "I fail to see the humor, Chancellor," she said, her voice cutting through the noise like a blade. Vexthor leaned forward on his floating throne, his serpentine body coiling with barely suppressed mirth. "You fail to see? Oh, that is rich. Ambassador, your species evolved on a planet with what? 10 meters per second squared of gravitational acceleration." 9.8, Jade corrected. 9.8. Vexthor repeated, gesturing to the crowd. "Do you hear that? 9.8. The average Krillian child experiences 3.2. The mighty Vaxans, 5.1. Even the fragile Morphids manage 6.7. But humans? You poor creatures developed under nearly 10 times the pressure we consider normal for civilized life." A Zentarii representative, whose name Jade's implant translated as something like whistling wind through crystal, chimed in. Her voice was melodic but mocking. "We have reviewed your physiological data, Ambassador. Your bone density is absurd. Your muscle fiber composition is grotesque. You are built like, how did our xenobiologist put it? Like someone designed a gorilla to walk upright and gave it delusions of intelligence." More laughter. Jade felt her jaw tighten. "Your planet is a death world," Vexthor continued. "A brutal, hostile nightmare where everything is heavier, slower, more difficult. And you think this qualifies you for exploration? For combat? For joining the most elite force in the galaxy?" "I do," Jade said simply. "Based on what?" Vexthor's amusement was fading into something colder. "Annoyance. Your ships are adequate. Your technology is derivative, copied from species that achieved spaceflight while your ancestors were still hitting rocks together. Your military victories are against yourselves. You have no reputation, no allies, no achievements of note. You are a newcomer species from a harsh little world, asking to sit at the grown-ups' table." Jade reached into her uniform pocket slowly, deliberately. Every weapon scanner in the room probably activated simultaneously. "Good. Let them watch." She pulled out a pen. It was nothing special. Standard issue, black plastic, the kind that came in boxes of 50. She held it up between thumb and forefinger. "This," she said, "is a pen." Silence. Confused silence, but silence nonetheless. "It weighs approximately 10 grams, Jade continued. "On Earth, under 9.8 meters per second squared of gravitational pull, it has a certain heft. A certain presence in the hand." "What is your point, human?" Vexthor asked, irritation creeping into his tone. "My point, Chancellor, is perspective." She held the pen out at shoulder height and released it. Time seemed to slow. The pen fell, accelerating at 9.8 meters per second squared, exactly as physics demanded. It dropped faster than anything most of the assembled species had ever seen fall naturally. On their worlds, objects drifted. On Earth, they plummeted. The pen hit the chamber floor with a sharp crack. The sound was wrong. Too loud. Too violent. Then the floor splintered. Not a little crack. Not a cosmetic scratch. The advanced composite material, designed to withstand the weight of beings from hundreds of different gravity wells simultaneously, spiderwebbed outward from the impact point in a pattern that spread 15 feet in every direction. The laughter died. That, Jade said into the stunned silence, is a 10-gram pen, dropped from a height of roughly 1.5 meters, on a floor calibrated for maximum 0.4 gravities. She looked up at Vexthor. His 4 eyes were wide, all blinking at once now. Not in amusement. In shock. You want to know what qualifies us? Jade asked, her voice quiet but carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. Let me tell you about growing up on a death world, Chancellor. Every human child learns to walk under nearly 10 times the gravity you experience. Every step is resistance training. Every fall is a lesson in physics. We are not built like you because we cannot afford to be. She began walking forward, her boots clicking against the damaged floor. The sound echoed. You call our bone density absurd? It needs to be absurd. Our skeleton has to support itself against a constant, crushing downward force. Your bones would snap like dried twigs if you tried to live 1 week on Earth. Your muscles would tear. Your organs would fail. The Morphid delegate tried to interrupt. But surely you understand that such adaptation makes you poorly suited for. For what? Jade's voice cracked like a whip. For agility? Every human soldier can move faster in standard environments than your best athletes. For endurance? We can operate in 0.8 gravity for days without rest. For strength? She reached down and picked up a piece of the broken floor. It was a shard about the size of her hand, jagged edges still smoking slightly from the molecular disruption. She held it up. This material is rated for 5,000 kilograms of pressure per square meter. A pen broke it. A pen moving at terminal velocity for 1.5 seconds of Earth-standard gravitational acceleration. She dropped the shard. It shattered further when it hit. Now imagine what a human fist does. The chamber was absolutely silent now. You call us poorly adapted, Jade continued, circling back toward the podium. You call us slow, heavy, brutish. You laugh at us because we come from a world where everything tries to pull you down, break you, crush you into the dirt. And you know what? You are absolutely right. Earth is a nightmare. Living there is a constant battle against physics itself. She stopped, turned, and faced the full assembly. But here is what you do not understand. Here is what you cannot understand, because you have never had to learn it. We won. Every single human alive today is the descendant of ancestors who looked at 9.8 meters per second squared of crushing, relentless, inescapable force and said, "No, I am not going to let this stop me." We learned to walk upright despite it. We learned to run, to jump, to build, to fly, to leave our planet entirely, all while carrying a weight that would leave your species bedridden. She pointed at the broken floor. You see weakness. You see a species handicapped by our brutal origin. We see something different. We see a species that trains at 10 times standard gravity from the moment we are born. We see soldiers who move like lightning in your environment. We see workers who can lift loads that would require your power assist frames. We see survivors who evolved to endure what you consider impossible. Vexthor finally found his voice. That is, I admit, a compelling demonstration. But surely you realize that raw physical capability is not the only requirement. You are scared, Jade said flatly. The silence somehow became deeper. I am what? Vexthor's voice was dangerous now. Scared, Jade repeated. You are terrified of what it means if we are good at this. If the species from the death world, the late arrivals, the primitives with our derivative technology and our excessive bone density, turn out to be better soldiers than the rest of the galaxy combined. Because that would mean you have been wrong. For thousands of years, you have built your military doctrine around low-gravity species with fragile bodies and technological crutches. And then we show up, carrying our gravity with us like a weighted training vest we can never take off, and we are faster, stronger, tougher than anything you have ever produced. She walked back to the podium, stood at attention. So no, You do not want to let us into the expeditionary force. Not because we are unqualified. Because you suspect, deep down, that we will embarrass you. The Vaxxon commander, a scarred veteran named Thraxol, spoke for the first time. His voice was like grinding stone. Prove it. Jade turned to face him. Excuse me. Prove it, Thraxol repeated. He rose from his gravity platform, his exoskeleton creaking. Words are air. Demonstrations with pens are tricks. If you want entry into the expeditionary force, pass the trials. A ripple of shock went through the assembly. The trials were legendary. They were designed to push experienced soldiers from established military species to their absolute limits. The failure rate was 60%. The mortality rate was 12%. Jade smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. It was not a friendly smile. Name the time and place, Commander. The trials took place on Carrick 9, a moon specifically engineered to be hostile. The Galactic Council had spent 2 centuries and unfathomable resources creating the perfect testing ground. Environments ranged from volcanic wastelands to frozen tundras, from crushing oceanic depths to vacuum-exposed highlands. Gravity fluctuated between zones, sometimes gradually, sometimes in jarring transitions designed to disorient and disable. Jade stood in the staging area with 19 other candidates. Krillians, Vaxxons, Zentarii, Morphids, and half a dozen species she did not immediately recognize. All of them were veterans. All of them had decades of combat experience. All of them looked at her like she was a child who had wandered into a war zone by mistake. The human actually showed up. One of the Krillians hissed to his companion. I thought for certain she would develop sudden illness. Diplomatic emergency. Something. She will withdraw after the first challenge, the other replied. When she realizes what she has volunteered for. Jade ignored them. She checked her equipment one final time. Standard issue expeditionary gear, no modifications for human physiology. The suit was designed for species averaging 60 kilograms in 0.5 gravities. She weighed 72 kilograms and was accustomed to 9.8. The suit felt like tissue paper. The armor plating felt like aluminum foil. The weapon felt like a toy. Perfect. Commander Thraxol's voice boomed across the staging area. Candidates, you have volunteered for the greatest honor in the galaxy. You may also have volunteered for your deaths. The trials are not simulations. The dangers are real. The consequences are permanent. If you wish to withdraw, do so now. There is no shame in recognizing your limits. He paused, his 4 eyes sweeping across the assembled candidates. No? Very well. Challenge 1 begins in 30 seconds. Survive the gauntlet. Reach the far beacon. Failure means elimination. Incapacitation means elimination. Death means, obviously, also elimination. Begin on my mark. Jade felt her heart rate slow. Not from fear. From focus. Years of training under Earth gravity had taught her body to regulate itself, to find calm in chaos. She closed her eyes for 3 seconds, took 1 deep breath, and opened them again. Mark. The floor disappeared. Not metaphorically. The actual floor retracted, and all 20 candidates dropped into a kilometer-long canyon. Gravity here was 0.7, slightly higher than standard, but still nothing compared to Earth. Jade fell faster than everyone else, her greater mass accelerating her downward. She used it. While other candidates scrambled for handholds or activated their suit's emergency dampeners, she aimed herself like a missile toward an outcropping 60 meters down. She hit, rolled, absorbed the impact through legs that had spent a lifetime learning to handle falls, and sprinted. The gauntlet lived up to its name. Automated turrets tracked movement. Energy barriers appeared and disappeared at random times. The terrain itself shifted, with platforms rising and falling according to algorithms designed to catch you off balance. Jade ran through it like she was back home, dodging through Chicago traffic during rush hour. A Krillian candidate to her left took a plasma bolt to the shoulder. He went down screaming. Jade did not slow. A Morphid tried to phase through an energy barrier and got stuck halfway, their form flickering in agony. Jade vaulted over them. A massive vaccine ahead of her triggered a gravity trap, suddenly experiencing 3.2 gravity. He struggled, movements turning sluggish. Jade ran past him at full speed. 3.2 was a light day back home. The other candidates were using their suit's enhancement features, burning through power reserves to boost strength, speed, and reflexes. Jade's suit systems remained at baseline. Why waste energy when her body already provided what they needed artificial assistance to achieve? She hit the halfway mark in 4 minutes, 12 seconds. The course record was 6 minutes, 8 seconds, held by a legendary vaccine warrior who had completed the trials 20 years ago. Behind her, she heard explosions, screams, and the harsh buzzing of elimination beacons. Ahead, she saw the far marker, a glowing tower that seemed to mock the distance remaining. Then gravity shifted to 1.4. Jade felt the change instantly. Her body grew heavier. Her steps required more force. The suit's servos, designed for lighter species, whined in protest. She grinned. 1.4 was Earth during a particularly intense workout. 1.4 was training with a loaded pack. 1.4 was nothing. She actually accelerated. The remaining candidates behind her were not so fortunate. A Zentarii crystalline form cracked under the increased pressure. 2 Krillians collapsed, their serpentine bodies unable to support their own weight. Even the vaccines were slowing, their enhanced exoskeletons struggling. Jade crossed the finish line at 7 minutes, 42 seconds. She was the third candidate to complete the gauntlet. The first was a vaccine named Korathmel, who had used every enhancement his suit provided and looked like he was about to collapse. The second was a species called a Thraxian, a centaur-like being with 8 legs and a reputation for endurance. Both of them stared at Jade as she walked calmly past the beacon, breathing hard but still standing, still alert. "Impossible," Korathmel wheezed. You cannot, how?" Jade just smiled. By the end of Challenge 1, only 8 candidates remained. Challenge 2 was psychological. Candidates were placed in simulation pods and subjected to scenarios designed to break their will. Fear, loss, betrayal, failure. The simulations are adapted in real time, finding weaknesses and exploiting them with surgical precision. Jade's simulation showed her Earth burning. Cities collapsing. Everyone she loved was dying. The Galactic Council laughed as humanity was erased from existence. She watched it all with cold eyes. "Is this supposed to break me?" she asked the empty air. "I grew up on a planet actively trying to kill me. I watched people I cared about fail, fall, and die because gravity does not care about your feelings. You think artificial fear is worse than the real thing." The simulation intensified. Now it showed her as the cause. Her failures, her mistakes, her arrogance leading to catastrophe. Jade laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, you really do not understand humans, do you? We are experts at blaming ourselves. We do it for breakfast. Guilt is our natural state. You want to hurt me? You need better material." The simulation crashed. Error codes flickered across her vision. The pod opened. She was the first candidate to complete Challenge 2. She finished in 18 minutes. The second-place candidate took 47 minutes and emerged weeping. Challenge 3 was combat. Live opponents, dulled weapons, victory conditions. Jade faced a vaccine twice her size, covered in natural armor, with 4 arms and a lifetime of training. The fight lasted 11 seconds. Jade moved like water, like lightning, like something the vaccine's instincts could not track. She was inside his guard before he finished his first attack. She struck pressure points he did not know he had. She used his mass against him, his strength against him, his expectations against him. He hit the ground unconscious before his brain registered what had happened. The assembled observers were silent. Challenge 4 was team coordination. The remaining 4 candidates were thrown into a hostile scenario requiring cooperation, communication, and trust. Jade took charge immediately, not through aggression but through competence. She assessed everyone's strengths, covered their weaknesses, and turned a group of confused individuals into something resembling a unit. They completed the challenge in record time. Challenge 5 was the final test. Survival. Each candidate was dropped alone into the most hostile environment Carrick 9 could provide. No resupply. No communication. No support. Last 72 hours and reached the extraction point. Jade was dropped into a zone with fluctuating gravity, a toxic atmosphere, and predatory fauna engineered to hunt expeditionary candidates. She lasted 96 hours. Not because she had to. Because she wanted to explore. When the extraction shuttle finally found her, she had built a shelter, catalogued 14 new species, and was roasting something that looked like a cross between a lizard and a bear over a fire. "Sorry," she said, climbing aboard. "Lost track of time. This place is fascinating." She was the only candidate to complete all 5 challenges. The ceremony was held back in the council chamber. Commander Thraxall stood before the assembly, his scarred face unreadable. "I have served in the expeditionary force for 43 years, he said, his voice carrying to every corner. "I have seen thousands of candidates. Hundreds of species. I have witnessed incredible feats of courage, skill, and determination." He turned to Jade, who stood at attention in her dress uniform. "I have never seen anything like this." He held up a data tablet. Ambassador Reeves broke 7 course records. She completed challenges faster than candidates with decades more experience. She adapted to environments that should have killed her. She thrived where others merely survived. Vex Thor shifted uncomfortably on his throne. "Commander, surely you are not suggesting—" "I am not suggesting anything, Chancellor," Thraxall interrupted. "I am stating facts. The human performed at a level consistent with our top 1% of operatives. She did so using equipment not designed for her species, in environments not optimized for her physiology, under observation by beings who expected her to fail." He faced the assembly fully now. "I was wrong about humans. We were all wrong. We saw the gravity, the density, the brutal origin, and assumed it made them weak. We were fools. It made them strong. Stronger than we can easily comprehend. They are not handicapped by their death world. They are forged by it." He turned back to Jade and for the first time bowed. A Vaxan bow, head lowered, arms spread, a gesture of respect given only to warriors of unquestionable skill. "The expeditionary force would be honored to have you, Ambassador Reeves. Welcome aboard." The chamber erupted. Not in laughter this time. In applause. Genuine, thunderous applause. Jade allowed herself a small smile. "Thank you, Commander," she said. Then louder to the assembly, "And thank you all for the opportunity to prove what 9.8 meters per second squared can create. Earth sends its regards." She saluted, sharp and precise. Somewhere back home, on that brutal, beautiful, crushing planet where every step was a battle and every breath was a victory, humanity watched the broadcast and realized something important. They were not weak. They never had been. They were just getting started. And the galaxy was about to learn what happens when you underestimate someone who learned to walk while carrying the weight of the world.